Hello, and welcome to the PAABLE Savings Program. My name is Diana Fishlock, and I'm a program representative with the State Treasury Department. In today's overview, we will discuss what ABLE is, who is eligible, how to open and manage an account, and some additional details and considerations, including a few extra rules for individuals receiving supplemental security income. What is ABLE? An ABLE account is a savings and investment product for people with disabilities to use for qualified disability-related expenses. One of the most significant features of ABLE accounts is that funds in the account are not counted when determining eligibility for federal means-tested benefits, with some limitation for supplemental security income. Through ABLE for the first time, many individuals with disabilities can save for a more secure future and have the ability to control their own funds. Also, the savings get great federal and state tax advantages. What is an ABLE account? ABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. ABLE was signed into federal law by President Obama in 2014, and that enabled the states to create their own ABLE programs if they wished. The Pennsylvania ABLE program was passed into law and signed by Governor Wolf in April 2016. PAABLE went live in April 2017, so our program is about 3.5 years old now. Pennsylvania's ABLE program is one of the fastest growing in the country. More than 3,800 account owners have saved more than $34 million in assets. We're very proud of that. With an ABLE account, you can save while maintaining government benefits. The federal law says that assets in an ABLE account and qualified withdrawals from the account are not counted against any federal means-tested benefits, with some limitation for SSI. Also, PAABLE assets are not counted against Pennsylvania needs-based benefits having to do with disability, health, and student financial aid. This is extremely important because without ABLE, it was very limited how much individuals with disabilities could save and still receive government benefits. For example, traditionally SSI recipients could only save $2,000 in assets without jeopardizing their benefits. Now, in addition to that $200,000, they can save up to $100,000 in an ABLE account, which can make a huge difference, giving the person the ability to save for a car or a house or just everyday expenses. If they go above that $100,000 threshold, SSI benefits will be suspended but not terminated. Medical assistance would continue through that time as well. ABLE account owners who don't receive SSI can save more than $500,000 in their ABLE accounts. I can get my slide to forward. An individual can have only one ABLE account nationwide. While you may see information from other states, Pennsylvania's ABLE law has several PA-specific benefits. These are only available to Pennsylvanians if they use the PAABLE program. Please note that some states' ABLE programs use confusing advertisements and marketing initiatives that may mislead you to believe that they represent PAABLE. If you open one of these non-PAABLE accounts, you may be missing out on critical PA disability and tax benefits. Remember, always look for the PAABLE logo, which you can see here, and make sure that you visit paable.gov. If you're from a disability organization or a support group, you can also order brochures and other materials here. Contributions to a Pennsylvania ABLE account are eligible for both state and federal tax benefits. Contributions to a PAABLE account may be deducted from state taxable income up to $15,000 per person per year. Only contributions to a PAABLE account qualify for the PA state income tax deduction. Account owners who are 18 or older may also be eligible for a federal tax credit up to $2,000 for contributions to their own ABLE account if they are not full-time students and not claimed as a dependent on another person's return. Also, there's no state or federal income tax on PAABLE account earnings while the funds are in the account, or when they're withdrawn if used for qualified disability expenses. So for example, let's say I put $1,000 in a money market and $1,000 in an ABLE account, and they both earn $50 interest. I would have to pay state and federal income tax on the money earned in the money market. But for the funds in the ABLE account, I wouldn't have to pay income tax, either state or federal. And as long as I used them for qualified disability expenses, there would never be any tax on those earnings. I will touch more on these later in the presentation, but I just want to mention now that ABLE accounts with a balance over $100,000 will impact SSI benefits. ABLE account assets are not subject to medical assistance repayment to the State Department of Human Services as long as the account owner is living. After the person passes away and their assets become part of their estate, the state can make a claim under certain circumstances. Contributions made as a gift to the eligible individual should be made directly into the ABLE account. Under normal SSI rules, gifts can impact eligibility. So for example, if it was your birthday and I gave you $50 for your birthday and I put that money into your checking account, your regular checking account, that could reduce your SSI benefits. But with ABLE, anyone can contribute to the account. So a gift into the account does not impact SSI benefits as long as the giver puts the money directly into the ABLE account. So if I handed you a check for $50 and had you put it in your ABLE account, that could affect your benefits. Let's look at who's eligible to have an ABLE account. There are two aspects that go into eligibility. The first is the onset of the qualifying disability that must happen before the person's 26th birthday. So let's say, for example, I had Down syndrome. Clearly, I was born with that. But let's say I was in a car accident and that was my disability, that caused my disability. It would be important whether that car accident happened when I was 20 or whether it happened when I was 40. It doesn't matter what age I am now, and it doesn't matter what age I received the correct diagnosis, as long as I can show that I had the disability by age 26. The other factor is the disability itself. So if I were eligible to receive supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance, then I would qualify to have an ABLE account. I don't have to be receiving those benefits. I just have to be eligible for them. But there's another option for people who don't have enough work history for SSDI and for people who don't qualify for SSI, and that's called self-certification. So with self-certification, in addition to the onset being by age 26, the person with the disability must have a written disability-related diagnosis from a physician who meets Social Security Administration criteria, saying that the person has a physical or mental impairment that results in marked and severe functional limitation and is expected to last for at least 12 months. In the enrollment process, there's a checkbox to indicate that self-certification requirements are met. We at Treasury do not need your doctor's note when you're enrolling. You just need to keep that for your records in case you're ever asked to provide it. Most people find the easiest way to open an account is to go online. You can go to PAABLE.gov and click on Enroll. Completing the enrollment process takes about 15 minutes. You can also call our toll-free number, 855-529-2253, and request a paper application. So there's two ways you can get a paper application. If you prefer to fill it out by paper, you can call that number and we'll mail it to your house, or you can go on the website and just print it off. There are some unique features on account control. If the person with a disability is 18 or older and has the legal capacity to contract, the federal law requires them to open the account for themselves. If the person with the disability is younger than 18 or lacks the legal capacity to contract, someone else can open the account for them, even though the person with the disability remains the account owner. That person who opens the account, the authorized individual, is the fiduciary and must administer the account for the benefit of the account owner. So I use my children as examples on this with their permission. If I open an account for my son, Ben, it's with the understanding that it's Ben's money and it's to benefit Ben. So I'm not going to use it to buy myself a new sports car or a day at the spa because it's Ben's money. Federal regulations limit who can open an account on behalf of another person to a parent, a guardian, or a person with the power of attorney. Pennsylvania also allows representative payees to open an account on behalf of an individual with a disability. At the end of this slideshow, I can show you what it looks like when a person applies online. My slides do not want to forward. After an account is opened, the account owner can designate others to have some degree of control over the account with them, called an authorized agent, but they must be the one to open it. So let's say I'm not used to handling money. I want to add someone. It's my choice if I do, and it's my choice how much control I give them. As you can see from this slide, the levels of control range from level 1, which means the person can get basic information about the account, all the way up to level 4, which would give the person full control over the account with me. There are many ways to make contributions: paper check or money orders or electronic fund transfers. There's lots of flexibility. An account owner can put money in now and then, or have money put into a PAABLE account regularly from a paycheck or an existing bank account. If you receive SSI or SSDI monthly benefits, you can now directly deposit those into your ABLE account. Please note that you can do that as long as you do not have a representative payee. For more information on that, you can visit ssa.gov. We do ask that each contribution be at least $25, and the federal law limits the amount that can be contributed annually to $15,000. And that's true no matter how many people are making contributions. Anyone at all can contribute to the account. They just need to be able to provide basic information about the account, such as the name and address of the account owner. Family and friends can also contribute with UGift, which is a free online service, a little bit like PayPal. Each ABLE account has a unique UGift code that you can share with whoever you want to be able to contribute. So that way, let's say I was inviting you to my child's birthday party, I could give you the UGift code, and then I don't have to give you the account number. Another way that people can contribute is they can roll over a 529 college and career savings account into an ABLE account. This would count toward the $15,000 limit. So let's say I had a 529 account with $30,000 in it. I would need to roll that over 2 years. Government stimulus payments during the COVID-19 pandemic can be deposited into ABLE accounts. Stimulus payments, as you might know, must be either spent or deposited into an ABLE account within 12 months. Otherwise, these funds will count as assets and could reduce benefits. Unemployment payments, including the extra $600 per week because of COVID-19, are counted as unearned income for SSI. By saving stimulus payments and/or unemployment funds in ABLE, they will not count as assets in the future and will not be counted toward the SSI limit of $2,000. The Able to Work Act adds some wonderful flexibility for some account owners who are working, allowing them to contribute more than that annual contribution limit of $15,000. Account owners who have not made contributions to a defined contribution plan, including a 401k, an annuity contract, or a deferred compensation plan during the tax year, may contribute an amount above the annual ABLE contribution limit of $15,000. The amount that they can put in extra is whichever of these is less, either the amount that they earn this year or the federal poverty level for the prior year, which right now would be $12,490. So the most that could be contributed under the Able to Work Act would be $27,490. Any contribution above the $15,000 annual limit can only be made by the account owner. So let's say all of us on this Zoom meeting, we're contributing to Joe's ABLE account. Once we as a group reach that $15,000 threshold for the calendar year, Joe would be the only one who could continue to contribute above that level for the rest of the calendar year, and only if he meets those criteria. Once we're in a new calendar year, any of us can contribute again. PAABLE has 7 investment options, 6 asset allocation options, and a checking account, which I'll talk about on the next slide. So you would go to paable.gov to apply for any of those, and you can direct your investments to just one of these or any combination up to all 7 if you wish. On this page, we can see the 6 asset allocation investment options. They range from conservative to aggressive, and they are through firms you've probably heard of like Vanguard, Sallie Mae, and BlackRock. Also notice on the chart that each option has an asset-based fee. This is shown as an annual percentage, but it is taken out from the account returns daily. According to the federal law, you can move funds among these options twice in a calendar year. But anytime you put new money in, you can allocate it however you'd like. Now let's take a look at the checking account. Again, even if you're only getting the ABLE checking account, you would apply for that through paable.gov. The ABLE checking account is with Fifth Third Bank, LLC. It's FDIC insured up to the $250,000 limit, and it comes with a free debit card. Using the card at ATMs is free if you use it in-network, or $2.75 per use for out-of-network machines. The daily ATM limit is $800, and the point of sale limit is $5,000. But you can have these lowered if you like by calling Fifth Third Bank. You also can order checks if you want. There's a fee of $6 for 25 checks. There's also a $2 per month fee associated with the checking account, but this fee is completely waived if you choose to have your statements sent electronically, or if you have an average monthly balance of $250 or more. And there's also no overdraft or return payment fees. This slide shows the fees, just so we're being transparent. There is an account maintenance fee that applies regardless of the options you choose. The fee is $5 per month if you receive information by mail, and it's lowered to $3.75 per month if you choose to receive programs materials electronically. We already mentioned the asset-based fees and the checking account fees. So once you put money into an ABLE account, you're going to want to be able to take money out. Even if you don't have the checking account option, you can make a withdrawal from any of the investment options online, by phone, or in writing by filling out a form. If you have a checking account, you also have some added flexibility. You can withdraw from the checking account by using your debit card at a store, by making an ATM cash withdrawal, or by writing a check if you purchase checks. Let's take a look at what your account can be used for. The quick answer is anything. It's your money and you can use it for whatever you want. But if you want to enjoy the benefits and protections of the ABLE law, it needs to be used for qualified disability expenses. The federal law lists 11 categories given on this slide, things like education, transportation, prevention, and wellness. The proposed IRS regulations also list basic living expenses. They also note that they are not limited to expenses that are medically necessary, nor do they need to be for the sole benefit of the person with the disability. So, for example, a computer could be a qualified expense even if other members of the family use that computer. The bottom line is that qualified expenses are very broad. It's up to the account owner to make the decision on what's qualified. They don't have to call up the Treasury Department or the IRS and say, hey, I bought M&Ms, do those count as an everyday expense? They can make that decision for themselves. The best thing to do is always keep a receipt of purchases. We at Treasury do not need a copy. It's just in case you're ever audited by the IRS. There we go. So since it's so broad, you might wonder why it matters if something's qualified or non-qualified. The first is tax consequences. Remember we talked about the $50 in earnings in both types of accounts. So withdrawals used to pay for qualified disability expenses incur no federal or state taxes. But withdrawals used for non-qualified expenses are subject to income taxes. The earnings portion is taxed at your ordinary federal income tax rate plus 10%. Additionally, Pennsylvania income tax is owed on the earnings. The second is consequences for federal means-tested benefits. Withdrawals for non-qualified expenses will be counted in determining eligibility. This is particularly important for SSI recipients. If they make a non-qualified withdrawal and they don't use the money in the same calendar month it's withdrawn, it can affect SSI benefits. As I mentioned earlier, an account value greater than $100,000 can be counted as an asset for a person who receives SSI. If their account grows larger than $100,000, SSI benefits would be suspended but not terminated. So the person would not have to reapply. And this would not impact their medical assistance eligibility. I do want to mention too that people who receive SSI have to make periodic reports to the Social Security Administration. The states that administer ABLE accounts also have to make periodic reports to the Social Security Administration. So Social Security has this built-in system of checks and balances. So I would make sure that I wouldn't misrepresent the amount in my ABLE account thinking, well, it's less than $100,000, it doesn't really matter. But it is good to be honest with the Social Security Administration about what's in your account, even if it is less than $100,000. Some important details that pertain to housing for SSI recipients. Housing is a qualified disability expense. However, for people on SSI, they need to pay close attention to timing. If they use the money in the same month that they took it out to pay rent, that will not affect SSI benefits. But if they take the money out in one month and pay the rent in a different month, that can affect SSI benefits. As I mentioned, non-qualified withdrawals are similar. As long as the money is withdrawn in the same month, there is no impact on SSI benefits. But there are still those tax consequences that I mentioned a slide or two ago. And for SSI purposes, housing expenses are broader than you might think. They don't just include things like rent and mortgage. They also include things like heating, fuel, sewer, and even garbage removal. So you want to keep that in mind if you receive SSI or if you're helping someone else who does. This slide talks about what happens when an account owner passes away. Pennsylvania does not make a claim against a person's ABLE account while that person is alive. But after the person dies and the ABLE account merges with the other assets in their estate, like their house and their car, the State Department of Human Services can make a claim just like they would if the person did not have an ABLE account. The person is not penalized for having an ABLE account. Pennsylvania is more generous than many states, because PA limits claims to only funds spent after the person turned 55. So I like to use my son Ben as an example here. He's been receiving benefits since kindergarten. If Ben passed away at age 53, for example, the state would not make a claim against his estate. But if Ben died at age 56, the state could make a claim against his estate, but only to seek repayment for services provided after his 55th birthday, and only for funds spent for nursing facility services, home and community-based services, and hospital and prescription drug services. The repayment would be postponed if Ben were survived by a spouse, a child under 21, or a child of any age if that child was blind or had a disability. I'm going to show you our outreach page briefly. It's a great place to find ABLE resources. So from our home page, you would click on resources and then go down to the bottom, which is outreach. From the outreach page, you can request free PAABLE materials or webinars specifically for your staff or support group. You can find messages and graphics for your newsletter or social media. You can sign up for email updates, see dates for upcoming public webinars, view webinar slides, and see account owner stories. Now I'm going to show you a bit more detail what it looks like if you apply online. I want to put a plug-in too for the PAABLE disclosure statement, which is available online and in our enrollment kit. That contains important information about PAABLE, including the objectives, risks, charges, and restrictions. So if you apply online, first you're going to put in information about the account owner. So let's use the example of my teenage son, Ben. I would put in Ben's name, Ben's first and last name here. And let's see if I can get to that other screen. I would put in Ben's first and last name, but I would put in my name, my email and my phone number on this example. Next, it asks who is filling out this information. Is Ben filling out this information for himself, or is Diana filling this out for Ben? Depending on my relationship with the person I'm filling out the form for, I may have to send in additional documentation later. I might have to send in a copy of a birth certificate or guardianship records or court records, that sort of thing. Now it's asking me again for Ben's name and now Ben's address. Here it's asking for information on the type of disability. And I know many people have more than one disability, but don't get stressed about which one to pick. This is just the federal government collecting pretty basic information about who's opening ABLE accounts. Is it mostly people with Down syndrome? Is it mostly people with respiratory disorders? You are going to supply a driver's license or state ID. This slide shows those 7 investment options we talked about. So each time you make a contribution, these are going to add up to 100%. But every time you make a contribution, you can contribute differently. Maybe last time you put all of it in the aggressive option. Maybe this time you want to put all of it in the moderately conservative option. You can also click on these and find out more about them. How they've done historically, who manages them, what the fees are, that sort of information. It's asking how you want to fund your account. Do you want to send a check? Do you want to link a bank account? Do you want to take money out of every paycheck? Some people like the ease of linking a bank account to their ABLE account, and then it's easy to move money back and forth in and out of the account. Some people prefer to keep their accounts separate and they feel like that gives them some added protection. So again, that's just another option and you can do whatever you feel comfortable with. You're going to select a delivery option. Do you want to receive documents through email, which involves lower fees, or do you prefer to get them through the mail? You're going to create a username and password. You're going to create some security questions about where your parents met and your oldest niece's middle name and that sort of good thing. It's a lot like applying for a checking account or a credit card. So that's our overview for today. I'm just going to speak very briefly about a few of our other savings programs. We have a highly rated 529 college and career savings program that helps families save for college tuition, room and board, and other college-related expenses. You can see a webinar at www.pa529.com. Keystone Scholars is one of our newer programs that provides a $100 grant for children born or adopted in Pennsylvania in 2019 or later. The $100 grant is available to the child when he or she begins college or trade school. It's designed to encourage Pennsylvania families to save for higher education and to encourage Pennsylvania students to pursue higher education. Our newest program is Fund My Future. It's a savings account in a child's name to help them pursue higher education. Families take the Fund My Future pledge to save for their child's future education with PA 529, and then they're entered for a chance to win a share of $8,000 in monthly raffles. So that is our presentation for today. I'm going to leave this up, so if you have questions, please feel free to call us at 855-529-ABLE or send us an email at info@paable.gov. You can also sign up for email updates or take another webinar. If you have a friend who wasn't able to attend today, you can direct them to our webinar page at paable.gov. Thank you so much.